Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back to the continuation of our beginner's guide. This is going to be carrying on from where we left on. We had, I believe, just done the passenger services training, and we're just going to carry on from there. In our main menu, I can do that by simply clicking on Resume Journey. Or, failing that, I can go to the training center and resume journey up here. Or I can go into my basics and look for what I haven't done. I will say that it used to have a tick box if you'd done it. So it would show you the training you had done and the training you haven't done. It doesn't have that anymore, which I think is a bit of a shame. I believe we got down to passenger operations. So it looks like we're going on to camera controls, although I believe it does do a bit of jumping about. So anyway, let's find out what it wants us to do next. So let's go resume journey and see where we go next. Camera controls. Let's see what it teaches about camera controls.
In this training module, you'll be learning about the various camera controls and how to get the best views. You can drive from in the cab or an exterior camera. Exterior views are particularly useful for coupling and uncoupling. Currently, you're in the cab of this Class 323 EMU with the same view a real driver would have. Before experimenting with camera views, set the train up correctly as if ready for departure.
Okay, so we've got to set the train up like we've been taught. We're going to start by inserting our master key. It is prompting us to do this to remind us. Let's pop our coach lights on. Turn the cab lights off. Tail lights off. Headlights are already on. Pop our reverser in forward.
We will now explore the camera controls.
Okay, external cameras, or camera. So in this case, what it's asking us to do is press number 3. So I'm going to hit 3 on my keyboard, and it takes me...
To get back inside the cab, a different key must be pressed. Do that now.
It takes me outside. This is my number 3 camera control. Let me see what it teaches me next. So number 3 takes me outside my external view, and number 1 takes me back to my...
Now that you're used to interior and exterior, switch back to the exterior view again to learn more about it.
So again, we're going to go back to the exterior, which was number 3.
From the exterior, you can move the camera around. Use the keys indicated along with your mouse to move and turn the camera. If the mouse pointer is moving but your view doesn't change, right-click the mouse to turn on camera mode. Spend a minute just practicing moving and turning the external camera.
Okay, so we can use our mouse to move it around. If your mouse pointer is like this, you've just done the right click that I taught you about. Right click is in camera lock mode. This is camera view mode. So we can have a good look around. And you can use your up and down, left and right arrow keys to float about.
You can zoom in and out using the mouse wheel. Try it now.
And as I did mention in an earlier video, you can zoom in and out with your mouse wheels. With this camera...
While in an external camera, you can also interact with some elements such as junctions. You'll be learning about junctions properly in a different training module, but for now, fly over to the indicated junction and change it by interacting with it using the controls indicated.
Okay, yeah. So in this number 3 camera, this is about as far away from my locomotive as I can get. I can move in closer. Oh, by the way, you can also sprint with the camera by holding down shift. Move it much faster. There are certain things that this tutorial doesn't teach you about camera mode, which I think is a bit of a shame. Anyway, you can interact with things like it says. So there we go.
There's a lot more to learn about cameras, including numerous other camera modes. You can find out more in other areas of the training center. That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back to it at any time via the training center.
Okay, there you go. That's camera control. 1 is your cockpit view, 3 is your exterior view. There are 2 other camera modes as well, which is number 2, which is kind of, I don't know what that camera mode is called actually, but it's like 3, but it kind of rotates with your mouse much more freely. What I would say is experiment with these camera controls. And there is another one which is 8 on your keyboard, and that is very much your free camera that you can just fly around the world with. You're literally free to go wherever you want, within reason, obviously. Yeah, play about with them. The cameras, experiment with them. Anyway, it might teach us about those other ones next. Let's find out. Moving a train part 2, that it might get us to do with exterior cameras, maybe, if it's part of the camera.
In this module, you'll combine everything you learned from the moving a train, passenger operations, and camera controls modules, but from outside the train. Now you'll have the freedom to enjoy external cameras while driving the train.
Okay.
Before you go any further, get the lighting all set up correctly.
Right, let's headlights on, tail lights off, coach lights on.
You can activate the master key by pressing the indicated keys.
Yeah, for things like master keys and stuff like that, I like to do it in cockpit. And then
now press the keys indicated to set the reverser to forwards.
You can use S like this to slide it back.
Just as with other modules, you're currently sitting in a Class 323 multiple unit. You must now switch to the exterior camera. If you need a reminder on how to do this, head over to the camera controls module first and have a quick refresher.
Okay, so 3.
Aside from the magnificent views, exterior camera views can make it easier to complete tasks such as coupling, checking your lights, and changing junctions. Only a small number of the most common functions are usable for an exterior camera. If you find you need to do something that isn't available, simply switch to the internal camera to do it, and then switch back. Finally, press the key indicated to apply some power. There are 2 keys, one to add more throttle and one to take throttle away. Experiment with them a little.
Okay. Before we go any further, I'm going to briefly show you the difference in these camera modes. It may come up in later tutorials, but let's just go over it now while we're doing it. This is 3. So camera mode 3, this is about as far away from the locomotive as I can get. There is another one, which is 8. 8 spawns in here, but as you can see, I can literally go wherever I want. And when I go back to the cockpit view and then back to 8, it resets it. So this is a great camera for doing like a drive-by with. I can place my camera here. And go on then, let's apply some power. And we can just watch. This camera doesn't move with the train, whereas the other cameras very much move with the train as it moves. This one is just freestanding. Let's pop it into coast then. Like so. And as you can see, your 3 camera does move with the train. Okay, and we can move it. Some people may like a sort of in front of the train view. You can literally set it up wherever you want, which is cool. Play about with it. I would run this sort of training exercise 2 or 3 times, get really comfortable with how the cameras work, where they sit. The other camera to mention is number 2 on the keyboard, and you literally just rotate round your front car. You can zoom in and out, but you can't use your arrow keys to move it. It's just to rotate round.
Now that you've moved down the track, it's time to bring the train to a stop.
Oh.
Use the keys indicated to adjust the power brake.
So, this is where having a HUD here also helps a little bit, because I can still see my speed. I'll aim at stopping. There we go.
Try restarting this tutorial and running it a few times until you're comfortable with driving from the outside, including moving the camera around. That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back to it at any time via the training center.
There you go. That's cameras for you guys. It didn't show us about that number 2 camera and that number 8 camera. So your cameras are 1 for cockpit view, 2 for kind of a rotation view, 3 is your sort of, you'll move it about but stay very close to the train, and it moves with the train. 8 is your free roam. You can go wherever you want and it won't move with the train. It'll stay where you've put it, but once you reset back to cockpit and then go back to 8, it will have reset to being near where you are. Right, let's have a look what's next. Changing ends multiple units. Do you know what? As the last 2 videos as the last 2 tutorials have been about camera control, I'm going to end this video there and just make it about camera control. And then we'll carry on with the others in our next video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Liking and subscribing always helps, and I'll catch you at the next one.